Sam Hunt, a former UAB quarterback turned rising country music star. In the past few weeks, he's appeared on Good Morning America, Live with Kelly and Michael, and released a new album entitled Montevallo. I sat down with a country cutie while on tour in Helotes, Texas. But what was most surprising to me was he wasn't always keen on singing in front of people.
My love for music probably coincided with my love for football, but my playing and pursuing, music as a performer and a writer, that didn't start until I was finished with high school. I started to write the first couple of years I was at UAB, but I was learning to play the guitar at the same time, so I never thought anything would become of it at the time. But my passion for music, writing music, grew as I spent those few years in Birmingham. I really didn't write, play, or sing or anything publicly until I was almost finished with college. I just was not good. I was not very good. I was just learning to play. I didn't know very many chords on the guitar. I was doing it more in my downtime, in my dorm room when nobody really was around. And even then, I never really thought that didn't really have any interest in playing for anybody else. It was more for my own fulfillment. But as my passion for playing and songwriting grew, and I started to play, around the house around my roommates, they, encouraged me to pursue it further. So by the time I finished up college, I was ready to get out and play and move to Nashville and check that whole scene out. I think I learned a lot about the connection between hard work, discipline, and success. That's something that's very important in football. I learned that well before I got to UAB. Continue to learn, how to put time into something, how to be competitive. Even though I've always had that competitive spirit when I switched over to music, it's not necessarily about competing with other people, but there are, goals and benchmarks and expectations for your potential that you set that you can compete towards. And I don't know, just all those principles that apply in football apply in life. It sounds cliche, but it's absolutely true. And I just applied a lot of those things and those lessons I learned in football to music, and I think that has a lot to do with the reason I was able to progress. Coming into music as I guess kind of an outsider and doing it as something that's very new to me. I really don't get a chance to even go home much here lately. Hopefully, when I do have some downtime, I'd like to go back and visit. I still have friends there, and I still obviously pull for UAB. And would love to go back and see some games.
I love getting to see our former student athletes make that transition into the rest of their life, and it was really cool how we talked about being a student athlete really set him up for his career path.
I think that was so good because a lot of guys are only known as former athletes. They don't realize that they still have a career ahead of them, and I think this young man realized you have an opportunity not only to get an education, but to play Division I sports. You do it, you learn the discipline, you get the education, you find out what you want to do in life, and then you go and do it. Great opportunity. He took advantage of it. I think he's a role model for a lot of young players.
I love meeting a lot of our former student athletes who've gone on to be doctors, lawyers, teachers, really making a difference in the rest of other people's lives.
As long as they're not sportscasters, at least for a couple more years, I'm good with it.